U.S. Trade Rep Robert Lighthizer says a phase one trade deal with China could happen as soon as next month. Joining us right now to talk about trade and so much more, Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, chairman of the Finance Committee. Good morning to you. Some people are calling this a skinny deal. Are you in favor of a skinny deal if it doesn't get you some of the bigger issues that I know you've been talking about?
Well, it seems like it's starting down the road of some of the big issues like stealing our intellectual property, trade secrets, manipulating their currency, and transfer of technology, but only partially going down that road. But that's a pretty good start. So obviously, I'm happy that they're getting serious about that. The trouble is, we don't really know until, you get, we can sign an agreement in Chile, let's say next month, but we won't know on those things maybe for a few years. Are they really abiding in good faith? But on the agricultural stuff, when they are committed to buying $50 billion of agricultural products over the next 2 years, we'll be able to measure that for sure. So I think you have to have some hesitancy and some disbelief about whether China is really negotiating in good faith, but at least it takes some of the anxiety out of that results from the uncertainty of trade, and getting some certainty is pretty important, not only to China, their economies hurt worse than ours, but when you consider that China's 15% of the world's economy, we're 22%. That's 37% added together. When they get together, it's going to have an influence on the whole globe.
Senator, though, let me tell you, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but we had Rick Scott on the program earlier today, and he doesn't believe the Chinese, frankly, to some degree, even worth negotiating with right now, because he has a view that they are not going to abide by anything that even they sign their name to.
I think that that's a realistic approach, and you heard some of that caution in my answer to the first question, but we're going to know on agriculture right away. If they don't deliver, we can measure that in the dollars they buy or don't buy.
What is your sense, though, of the bigger pieces that you've been talking about? Meaning, how do you think we get there? Can that get done over the next 12 months in an election year? Or do you think that whatever leverage we have or don't have, that we've actually lost some leverage in this next 12-month period as the Chinese wait to see what the leadership of this country looks like?
Well, obviously, your question is in regard to phase 2 and phase 3, right. And I don't know whether there'll be a phase 2 or phase 3 next year. But if this agreement is signed in Chile, then it doesn't have to go through the Congress, so it won't be affected like USMCA could be. If we don't get it done this year, it's into a presidential election year, make it more questionable. The president signs this. Does China live up to it is about the only question you have to ask.
Do you have a view, and we've talked about it on this show a lot, that if one of your other colleagues, Elizabeth Warren, were to be in the White House, that she would be even more hawkish on China?
Well, I think you got to look at, it's pretty hard to beat this president compared to 3 previous presidents, 2 Democrats and 1 Republican. They all knew that China was not living up to their obligations under the World Trade Organization. They didn't do anything about it. Didn't even label him as a currency manipulator like this president has done. So this president has been as tough as any president has ever been on China, and we ought to be thankful that he is. Even the farmers of Iowa that are hurting to some degree as a result of the uncertainty of these trade agreements still has given the president some leeway on dealing with China, because they know China has been cheating us for 20 years. Not living up to the obligations of the World Trade Organization. So I think you got to look at it that whether it's Elizabeth Warren or somebody else down the road, this president has started us in the right direction in regard to China.
Senator, before we let you go, got to ask, because there's been lots of speculation about what some of your other colleagues, including Mitt Romney and some other Republicans in the Senate, are up to. What's your feeling about impeachment right now?
Well, how do you really know, considering the fact that everything is a star chamber approach in the secrecy of the House committee room, and so different than Nixon's impeachment and the Clinton impeachment, where the president's lawyers were in the room cross-examining witnesses. We don't have any of that. So you're asking me, what do I think about it? Even the Republicans that are in the room at the House of Representatives, and there's a few of them there, there's a gag rule put on by Schiff, the congressman in charge of it, and they can't even speak about it. But yet there are leaks out. So I think that it's really wrong to draw so many inclusions, except for this, that you can go back to a Washington Post headline, January 20th, 2017, 6 hours before the president was even sworn in, that impeachment proceedings have started against the president, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But so this has been an effort to oust this president, to negate the last election by impeachment, and they thought Mueller was going to do it, but there was no collusion or crime, so then they go to what they're doing now. And it's never going to end. And whether he's impeached or not, we're only a year away from an election, so why not let the election take place?
You don't have a Twitter account under a different name like Senator Romney, do you?
I've got 450,000 people following me.
Your real account.
And they know it's Chuck Grassley.
Carlos Danger is taken, Senator, in case you want to.
Senator, we want to thank you.